has everybody on my Discord server started their names with N dot dot dot? my Discord server is a mystery to me sometimes. Hello, everybody. I just realized I'm on the wrong screen. There we go. It is almost April, and it's been an interesting month. So I'm here to chat about it. See if anybody's going to pop in at this time of the evening. I think I've timed it around dinner time-ish in the States, more or less. I hope everything's streaming okay. It appears to be on. Oh yeah, there we go. Hey Windell, how's it going? Let's pop out chat so I'm not looking over in that direction all the time. It's one thing I really like about the streaming software. Expand it out a little so I can see everybody. Hey Fred, how's it going? Fred and I were just recording a podcast not an hour ago. We have a weekend podcast. In case anybody doesn't know this, you can find it on Spotify. It's called Wizards and Warp Drives, and we're up to about episode 30 something. So we each week we focus on one topic, and usually a movie or a comic or something like that. We just covered Star Wars Skeleton Crew, so that was kind of interesting. General favorable reviews from us three. So it's me, Fred from How to RPG, and Nacho, Nacho organizes and does all of the hard stuff, and we just turn up and talk ass and yeah, generally share our views, which is interesting because we're all Kiwis, so you get the Kiwis perspective. Although of course we're all old Kiwis, you know. Hello, Lord Nargle. Hello, Bubs. Greetings from New Mexico. Hello. Post-apocalyptic news radio. Morning. Hey, Dan. Shakescan. Nice to see you again. Jason Owens. Hello. KMG. Hey, haven't seen you in a while. Hello, all you sexy potatoes. Good day. How's my I'm going well. It's been a hectic month. You may have seen that I've had a sort of sporadic uploads of videos. That's because I've been working on Super Atomic and other projects, which I'm going to be talking about today, because it's definitely going to happen. Me and Fred are in the process of writing a monster manual for Shadow Dark. It's not official. Kelsey is not behind this. We're just doing it of our own free will because we both love the system, and essentially we don't want to write for that other fantasy role-playing game. So yeah, this is what we're doing. So you're going to see me on my server. If you pop into the chat when I'm in the chat room there, you'll probably see the camera is focused on a piece of paper, and I'll be illustrating one of the 100 monsters which are going to be in that monster manual. Starting last night, I was drawing a goat-like creature. So yeah, if you want to see me illustrating monsters and see that side of my talents that you don't often get to see, then yeah, pop on in, and I'll be happy to chat with you about anything. But yeah, also Fred and I are going to be chatting about monsters quite often, and statting them up and stuff. Statting stuff up is the least of your worries in Shadow Dark. Generally speaking, it's going to be a monster manual for low level play, nothing over level 10, because we just don't think that's very practical. So it'll be like 1 to 4, most of them, and stuff. Yeah, working out all of the challenge rating table was Fred's obsession, and I saw the amount of work that he put into it. It was quite extensive. So he's really done the homework on it. Me, I just have the fun job of creating 100 unique monsters. The challenging thing is, because I know all of the monster manuals, all the fiend folios, all the tomes of horrors, all of the everythings, finding monsters that have or thinking up concepts of monsters that have never shown up in any other monster manual has been interesting. But you know, I live and breathe monsters, as you know, so it's definitely my forte. And I've cranked out over 50 so far. It's only been a week or two, well, a month really. Hey Moondog, hey Jay, hey WF, South Florida, USA. Hello. It's called mature Kiwis. Yeah, elder Kiwis. Hey, Hank Martin Hortensis, welcome to Bronze Dragon. Thank you very much for your membership. One of the benefits that you get from being a Fourth Wall subscriber, and I definitely advise people to switch over to Fourth Wall. It's much better for me. It's much better for you. Patreon's been great, and I'll continue supporting and posting all of my stuff to Patreon as long as I have Patreon subscribers there. But I would prefer to move away from Patreon to Fourth Wall because it has much more integrated services. It's a much more up-to-date company. They are much more in tune with creators. They contact me personally and had basically a sit-down meeting, and they listened to what I was doing and everything. And they've got integrated merchandising. I don't have to go to third parties to do that. So that's cheaper for me, cheaper for you. And more reliable, and also I trust where they're sourcing all of the materials and stuff from. I've ordered products, the quality is really good. Here's one of the mugs that you get from there. Please go and buy a mug, and I'll send you a personal video message thank you for every purchase. You can contact me on there. All of the Fourth Wall subscribers, I will make videos for you. I will answer any questions you have. We can have video chats. I can do cameos in your games for you. Anything you want, within reason. I'm not going to go glugging hot sauce or something for clicks. What's this, Snargle? Funny story about your last video. I listened to your vids when I drive into town, and the microphone and your voice were such that it made me notice that my rear passenger side speaker had blown out. Oh wow. Great. That's good to know that my audio quality is that good. What do monsters eat? Adventurers. Oh yeah, the care and feeding of monsters. Just because of the thumbnail for this video, I thought it was amusing. I definitely got more clicks from having my face on the thumbnail. So you're gonna unfortunately be seeing my mug in some of my thumbnails going forward. I also noticed that Poltergeist video, it should have got a lot more recommendations from YouTube, and it just didn't. Like 99% of, like 999 of the views were just from people browsing and finding the channel on their own. It wasn't even subscribers and recommendations that were getting that. I got like 97 views from recommendations. That was terrible. So the thumbnail, definitely not good. So I had to change the thumbnail, change the title, put more clickbaity stuff in the description, doobly-doo. So hopefully that'll help it. But it was a really good video. So unfortunately, it just didn't get any traction. So I'm not going to back away from doing monster videos or Fiendfolio videos and things, but I'm going to definitely pay more attention to my thumbnails because, yeah, that was my bad. All about timing. The Karen feeding of monsters. Do I have a backlog of my content on Fourth Wall? I do have exclusive content on there, generally in the form of articles, such as I did an overview of the Dalek from Doctor Who as a D&D style monster, statting them out and everything for you. So you'll get weird and wild content like that, and other things like I'll see a suggestion for a monster on the X platform, for instance, and I'll make an article about that on the same day and post it on Patreon and Fourth Wall. And so you don't get to see that in my my D&D channel because a lot of those videos won't be statted out for 5th edition. I'm not bound by the fan content policy because it's not D&D content, which means that it can be exclusive and remain behind a paywall. So there you go. So, you know, there is an incentive to join up. And also my pricing on my Patreon and stuff is built with a realistic idea of what my audience's income is at the moment. Because I know everybody's struggling and I don't want anybody to give me any more money than is in their discretionary spend, which I know is wafer thin these days. So I don't want anybody breaking the bank just to support me. You know, I'll get by. But I can assure you that the Patreon and Fourth Wall pays all of my grocery bills. Without it, I would not be eating well. You know, I'd just be covering my bills. Make the pink oozes bigger, brother. Yeah, the delicious pink ooze. That's also making an appearance in the Monster Manual for Shadowdark. We don't have a name for the Monster Manual yet, so if you got any suggestions, I might even make a competition out of it and send you a little something if you win. Greetings from the Netherlands. Use Kiwi myths. Yeah, there are a few. Hey, Mr. Welsh. Always loved that picture of you writing in a tower with the animated back window that you used in your vids. Yeah, that was when I had briefly an editor who was helping me out. That's one of the big differences between me and other YouTubers is that I do it all myself. I don't have an editor. So I do all of it myself. So you're never going to see me standing in front of a green screen doing sort of zazzy content that Dungeon Dad is doing. And full credit to him for that. I mean, yeah, it must be quite stressful. Watch your videos on night shifts, and they're super great for that. Thanks for making so much good stuff for us. You're one of the better lore explainers. Thank you. Yeah, I definitely have a niche. I'm comfortable in it, and I will continue doing what I do. Yeah, for as long as possible. As long as people keep watching my content, I'll keep making it. I was doing this for 3 years before I started getting paid. So, you know, it's a passion project. It always has been. It still is. I really love doing what I do. Yeah. So the competition is only a competition if people compete, you know, so get involved. And the more enthusiasm you have for it, the bigger the prize will be. You know, if you show me your enthusiasm, I will reward it. So, because I've got some pretty hot shit on this, you know, in my store of I hoard books like a dragon. Can you make better swarms? Absolutely. There's the spamsters, small, tiny swarms of carnivorous pigs. I've got a lot of funguses, lots of oozes. All the best stuff. Posting lore videos, audio on Spotify. Yes, I have. The only problem is that it's I'm not familiar with like the monetization policies of Spotify. Spotify also forces you to go through a third-party outlet. Like they're really not very friendly to people who are not musicians going through studios. And my content isn't really a podcast, so they don't know really what to make of me. I'm not like the Joe Rogan show, you know, or something like that. Am I Terry Fat? Yes, I'm a Terry Pratchett fan. Absolutely. Douglas Adams, all the classics. Can you feed hippogriffs potato chips? No. No. They will probably take your hand off. Yeah, Spotify is great for its targets and stuff. It's one of the best. It's absolutely one of the best platforms in the world. But they're specific to certain things, so they're not very friendly. If you're outside of their expected content, then they're very not friendly to use. Also, Spotify's getting flooded with people making AI music and stuff like that. I've got AI music on my side channel. I've got a secondary channel that just hosts my my music stuff because I realize it's controversial and people don't like AI stuff, but I like playing around with it. Yeah, and you know, as you know, I use the same track of music now in my videos because nobody ever gets sick of the Tristram theme from Diablo 2. I certainly don't. And it's perfect for the tone of my videos. So yeah, that's really good. And that's never been an issue. If it ever becomes a copyright issue, I'm boned, because all of my videos, I'll have to redo the audio for all of those videos. That would be an absolute nightmare. So yeah. More Fiend Folio. Yeah, I've made quite a lot of progress on the Fiend Folio videos. Let's have a look here. My rather tatty list now. So I'm crossing them off as I go, as you can see. So I've made quite a few videos out of that list. I've still got a few that the Princes of Elemental Evil will probably be quite popular, but I mean, there's Elf in there. I'm not going to cover elves. I've already covered elves. Some of them are kind of stupid. Like there's a like the Column and Lizard Kings. You don't really need to worry about Lizard Kings. They're sort of folded into lizard folk. Mesodemons and Archidemons and things like that. They're interesting. I haven't done demons in a while, actually, so we're a bit overdue. But if you have anything from the Fiend Folio that you would prefer to see first, or I can just put up surveys on my community chat, and you can vote on them, and the dragons will always win. Just accept it. So I'll either do a poll of which dragon would you like to see next, or anything else, basically. But I'm quite keen on like the really weird ones, like the Terrafeg, for instance. If you've never heard of it, there's a reason. Hey, King J, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, so AI look, I'm not going to bury my head in the sand, and if you're not ahead of it, then you get left behind, essentially. And this period of outrage and stuff mirrors exactly what happened with the introduction of artificial production of lace, like lace. You know, you wouldn't think so, but if you go back in history and look at the past, it always illustrates patterns for the future to avoid. And what happened with the lace industry and the reaction from the entire world to lace is exactly what the reaction to AI has been in art and music. Exactly. So that, I mean, nobody considers artificial lace to be controversial. You wouldn't even think about it these days. So history is not going to be very kind to things like there's an award that I could nominate myself for, but they bar anybody who's used any AI content on anything, any large language models or any AI image generation whatsoever. Completely ignoring the fact, for instance, that I had to have all my teeth ripped out and I have to keep making content, so I had to use AI to replace my voice for a while there because I couldn't talk while I was recovering from surgery, and I had to earn an income. So in that case, I was using a voice emulator of my own voice as a prosthetic. So they've never ever considered that fact in their AI Luddite anti-crusade that it can actually have beneficial uses for people with disabilities. So that's a conversation that I'd like them to have. I'm not going to have it with them, because if I stick my head up over the wall, it will get shot, because they're not targeting people who are producing AI, they're targeting people who use AI. So it's not a crusade of change, it's a crusade of persecution of artists. I am an artist. We know this. So it's like, who's the advocate for me? Not the anti-AI people, that's for sure. But we've had this conversation on my live streams before. I'm not scared of them. I've been cancelled before, okay? I'm just, if it affects my bottom line to the point where I thought it was, actually, because I lost a whole heap of subscribers all of a sudden when I had that AI music on there. But that was actually YouTube adjusting my subscribers and getting rid of dead subscribers. Not dead, but like inactive subscribers. And they didn't tell me beforehand, which is actually against their policy. So they actually owe me an apology, because that made me change my content, because I thought that everybody was anti-AI. So that music that I had at the back of the videos with the Karga and stuff like that, that all got removed pretty much. Yeah. Anyway, it's a tricky beast navigating social change and technological change, but I'm always been kind of a first adopter, and yeah, I find it absolutely fascinating. And if you're not aware of what's going on, then you can't keep ahead of it, and you can't warn people of stuff. Don't trust any products. Like I've seen on Reddit, for instance, not Reddit, something like that. Anyway, the ads for, like, they'll have adverts for coffee machines and things like that, and they have all sorts of weird and wonderful shapes. And it's all AI imagery, or they have images of knitted sweatshirts and stuff like that. But in actual fact, the product you get is just a print of the AI image on a t-shirt. This is the problem that we have with AI, not people like me using it, when their teeth get pulled out and stuff like that, and being persecuted and shut out of awards and things like that in the industry because you've used it. Kind of sucks, and makes me want to ignore all of those pissant award things. And any crusaders on drive-through RPG and all that sort of stuff. It's just like, look, you're big fish in a tiny pond. You're nothing, really. Like, your awards and stuff mean nothing. So yeah, sorry to get a little bit heated, but I mean, we don't come here for AJ's calm hour of chatting about boring stuff. Yeah. I mean, controversially, the X platform, the Grok AI, is actually the best for adventure building and stuff like that, because it doesn't have the same formulaic high school essay structure that OpenAI uses. So ChatGPT and all of the derivatives of ChatGPT are all poisoned from the beginning from this ad hoc after the fact moderation that they put in there with keywords and stuff. So it just destroys the LL the matrix, because think it's just not they keep catching you in a net of censorship that have nothing to do with it. And particularly as a monster channel, like for a long time there, you couldn't produce anything that looked gory, and it's just like, well, how am I ever going to make an undead, image or anything like that using Midjourney, because it just won't let me. So like it wouldn't even let you draw blood or anything like that. So it's just like, oh, look. Like, can we get away from all of the censorship and just give me a platform where blah, 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 and you have to pay for it and stuff. Grok has the benefit of being free. So, look, you'll never see me do a video or anything at the back of a book where convert this monster to this system or this system or this system, because literally all you need to do is go to an AI, say, convert this to that, from this system to that system, and it will do it automatically for you. There's no reason to waste time or space. It's like, look, just use your cell phone, use a calculator to do the calculation for you. It's literally just a calculator. So yeah, mechanics and rules mechanics and stuff, just feed the information on my videos into a large language model, and it will spit out game statistics for you till the cows come home, and in lovely format, whatever format you want. So yeah, you don't need to worry about that anymore. So I don't need to make content specifically for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons or the Abomination that came after. In fact, I don't need to make anything for 5th edition. I will certainly talk about the Forgotten Realms, but why can't you play Forgotten Realms using Shadowdark? Why can't you use Dungeon Crawl Classics or, Morkborg or anything? It's just lore. It's not tied to any rule set. So yeah, there's no reason not to. Yeah, exactly. ChatGPT doesn't like the word slavery. And yeah, like if you can't go into kick down a door, kill a bunch of slavers and rescue people, then what's the point of adventuring? It's like, I always love the stories from the old magazines. My son has listened to The Wizard's Boy about 1 million times. You should know that a positive impact you have on a channel you've had. Excellent, because I have 2 more right here, ready to go. I also have the script, I won't show you in case you screen capture it, for the 50-year celebration of D&D, where a whole bunch of YouTubers are going to be talking about their favorite adventures of all times. And I lucked out, and I got a really good one. So yeah, look forward to that. That's going to be on Mr. Welsh's channel, the Master of Mystara. Hey, Matthew, not a hell of a lot. Okay, so on to other news. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was one of the creators, a minor creator of Player's Expansion for Shadowdark RPG, which is on Drive-Thru RPG right now, ironically. So go and support us. It's a pay-what-you-want thingy. And no AI was used in that supplement at all. Yeah, we should point out. And talking of no AI, Super Atomic is now the text. My side of it is basically done. We're just doing the last little finishing touches on the text. We're then locking that in, and now we start adding all the artwork. I'm currently generating and drawing lots. Like here's a pencil beginning sketch of what I'm doing. So if you see this in the book, here is your proof that I actually draw stuff. I draw things. I draw on a piece of printer paper of all things. Yeah, I'm a basic bitch. What can I say? Yeah. So come in and watch me draw stuff on my live streams where I'm drawing monsters, and I'm also going to be doing the illustrations that you're going to see in the Super Atomic RPG. And so once the Super Atomic RPG artwork is all locked and loaded, and it's all the layouts done and everything, the PDF is ready to go, then we launch the Kickstarter. And the Kickstarter, anybody who backs the Kickstarter will get a copy of Super Atomic PDF automatically. There you go. Free. Yours. to test out and see if you like it. And if you want to see a more expanded, awesome, even more awesome version of it, then back the campaign and get a full expanded with magic and psionics and robotics and bionics and transdimensional travel and time travel and space travel, all of that shoved in there to be just a one-stop shop for all your supers needs. So yeah, that's what backing the Kickstarter will do. It will also pay Dave, the editor, the layout guy, who's put in way more work than was originally budgeted for already. So I owe him big. And basically paying everybody else that was involved a good amount of money for their contributions, and also, you know, supporting me, and also a print version of it if people want that, which I definitely want that, because my mum will be very happy to see my name on an RPG and a novel at some point. So yeah, that's all a go, and I think it'll be pretty good. Yeah. We're reaching that point now where we're going to see less and less superhero movies, and I don't know, there's still that itch of people who have had that steady stream of Marvel movies they've just been fed on for years now, and that's sort of petering out, and they're going to go, man, I want supers in my life, and I'm happy to deliver. Free League is producing an RPG for the Invincible cartoon series, but that's a very, you know, Free League have got they've got a mechanical sort of vibe for their games, and of course that's a setting. You can't sort of, you know, you're going to be locked into that sort of story world. Super Atomic is more open. It doesn't have a base setting and stuff like that. We do throw in an example city in the back that you can use just as a sort of starting location, but it's really designed to be a complete homebrew game, so you can run any adventures you want. But I do provide you with a very clear framework for how you run a villain of the week game and how you run a disaster of the week game. Very formulaic. Like, I believe in, before you before you subvert and remix and disrupt the cliche, show the audience the cliche first and let them know why it's a cliche, because cliches work. And so sometimes there's a lot of unnecessary disruption and they miss the original point. They've thrown the baby out with the bathwater, as we say in New Zealand. But I aim to give them exactly what you need in the Supers game, and then you can subvert it and do what you want with it, but give you the basics first. And it's designed to be given to somebody, and it's simple to pick up. It's even easier to pick up and play than Monopoly. And it's going to be converted into Mandarin and Hindi and presented to Pakistan and India and China and Malaysia, everywhere. So something that Hasbro doesn't do is market role-playing games to the entire world, and that's what I aim to do. I want to put Super Atomic in everybody's hands, because we can't trust corporations to do this anymore. Hey, thanks, Drew. I almost forgot this is a monetized live stream. Thank you very much. Can't wait for the new stories. Awesome. Excellent. Good. I'll get started on those this evening then. I love the worlds of D&D. I don't like the rules of D&D. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I am very much committed to exploring the Forgotten Realms, the Dragon Princes. The campaign book for the Forgotten Realms is coming out soon. I'm definitely going to be into that immediately. I'll also give you, if you go to my resource section on my Discord server, you'll see that I always post stuff by the original designers of the Forgotten Realms whenever official content comes out. So you'll see on my my shelf here, I've got all of the latest Forgotten Realms source books. Those are sort of third party now that you get through DriveThruRPG, but they've produced some really good ones. And there's a lot of hints in them. Like the latest Thay book, for instance, mentions the Dragon Princes of Murgome. So yeah, it's definitely going to be in the campaign book, I would say. What kind of novel would you make, sci-fi or fantasy? Unfortunately, I would make a sci-fi. I was raised, just to give you some backstory, when I grew up, my dad had a full like a bookshelf like this, stacked with classic pulp science fiction. So Asimov, Heinlein, Frederik Pohl, Herbert, all of those. So from 1940s to 1970s sci-fi. That was what I was raised on, science fiction. And then fantasy was later after that. The first novel that I ever read all the way through, I think, was Voyage of the Dawn Treader by C.S. Lewis. So it was a fantasy novel. But yeah, I read a lot of hard sci-fi. So yeah, and I'm still, like, at the moment I'm reading a hard sci-fi. So recreationally I read sci-fi, but professionally I write fantasy. So yeah, fantasy would probably be easier for me to write, but I don't do things that are easy. I do things to challenge myself to get better. So yeah, I would do sci-fi because I think a lot about sci-fi stuff, and I don't get to talk to people about it much. So I'd like to put it in a story. Oh, was that an ad? Yeah. The ad slots are not controlled by me, unfortunately, so they'll pop in whenever YouTube decides to put them in there. Sorry. Yeah, and the UK, obviously. Yeah, Star Wars and D&D. Skeleton Crew was okay. What would I say are the best D&D novels? Most of the D&D novels that I've read have been R.A. Salvatore, so I'm a big fan of R.A. Salvatore. I tend to find an author that I like the vibe of, the voice, and I stick to them like glue. Like, for instance, Gaunt's Ghosts and Eisenhorn and stuff are all of the novels that I've read for Warhammer 40k, but I haven't really read anything else. Just lots of source books and lots of like wikis and stuff like that. But yeah, shop around. I would like to read all of Elaine Cunningham's stuff because it's very fundamental to Forgotten Realms, particularly the early Forgotten Realms and Moonshae Isles and stuff, and the history of the elves. But yeah, I would like to read all of like Ed Greenwood's stuff and all of that, So definitely have a look around. And of course, the Dragonlance books, the original Dragonlance books were really good. But they're hit and miss later on. And yeah, I'd like to read just all the different settings and stuff. Like, I never really got into role-playing in Eberron, but I'd love to read novels about Eberron, because that would give me more insight on how the dragon marks and technology and magical and all that sort of stuff is supposed to work. So yeah, that'd be good. The local Nothic's favorite channel, excellent. Hey, you made it, yeah. Would you care to guess what share of wizards fail in their quest to become a lich? It's not just wizards. You can also be an 11th level. You can be an 11th level caster as a divine caster as well. You just need to hit that level of casting. But a fair amount of clerics become liches too, and possibly paladins. I don't know. Maybe even some druids. But definitely clerics do become liches as well. And the failure percentage is high. In fact, there should be a lot more unique undead. So not categories of undead that you would put in a monster manual, but like unique. We don't get enough legendary one-off monsters in D&D anymore, have you noticed? Like, for instance, Medusa being split into the Gorgon, because all Medusas are technically Gorgons, and there's only 3 Gorgons, and one of them was called Medusa. So Medusa is just one individual in mythology. So it's a legendary person. Like Baba Yaga, for instance, is not a breed of hags. So it's kind of weird that way. D&D is very confusing. But I'd like to see more unique legendary one-off monsters, for instance. Yeah, what was the original question? How to be a lich. So there should be more failed liches that are unique cursed undead spellcasters, or semi-undead, or just generally messed up. Like Rastlin, for instance. He kind of strikes me as somebody who tried to become a lich and got messed up, but we all know it was, his price that he paid for magical knowledge. Pretty damn steep price, but Can sorcerers become liches? I think sorcerers probably become something else, like they become living magic or living spells or some other sort of thing. But I think it's a bit of a boring thing to say all spellcasters go the lich route. There should be more options for embracing an undead eternity. So, for instance, an artificer becoming a golem, a flesh golem or a mechanical golem, slowly but surely. That makes sense. So, then you get really technocracy of Mars, and the Omnissiah sort of vibes to it. Throw a little bit of Dalek in there too. Flesh is weak. Steel is stronger. That sort of thing. I love cybernetics and stuff myself. If there is a Dark Sun revival, Drew, then it would be definitely third party. I can't see Wizards of the Coast doing anything, and I really hope they don't, because it would be absolute slop. No, Dark Sun is perfect the way it is. The problem with Dark Sun, and it's a small problem, but it's a significant one, and Eberron suffers the same problem, is that the next edition that they did after the first one was quite radically different. So you have lore from the first Eberron, and then you got lore where it was a separate place, completely divorced from the regular D&D cosmology. It had its own cosmology. And then they said, okay, when we do the next edition, we want to put it in the D&D multiverse. And they're like, ugh. So they literally, I just happen to have a handy pry bar here, wedged it into the multiverse somehow, and it's inferior. So Dark Sun suffered the same sort of problem. The editions that came after it were different. So yeah, you're either a fan of the first lot or the second lot, but generally not both. And that makes it really difficult to make lore videos about, because who do I make the lore videos for? The original audience or the ones that came after? So I learned my lesson in Eberron that you don't make videos like that at all. You just avoid it. Power word exterminate, yeah. Is there a lot of deliberately spread misinformation on how to become a Lich? I think there's probably one or two manuscripts which are the accurate original details. But of course, as soon as a Lich discovers that the way that they did it works, they're going to hoard that knowledge and not give it out, because they don't want any rivals. So it will be self-curtailing. Plus, Vecna, Nothix, Ellipse, other curses just plague that sort of research. Orcus, of course, wants people to become Liches. So Orcus's cult is probably more likely to spread that information, and then the cult of Vecna and the the people who live in the Anarok Desert, whose name escaped me at the moment because it's very derivative and I always hate using it. They're like the guy from The Mummy, trying to stop any Netherese magic going out into the world, because they don't want to see a repeat of the rise and fall of the human magocracy empire. In fact, they're probably hounding Halrua as we speak. But yeah, so they would be hunting down, and there's also wizards who are abjuration specialists, so they are anti-magic specialists who would hunt down dangerous rogue magic. As soon as they find some sort of mage-bred monster, they would try and find out if that's recently been produced, and they would find the person who's responsible for it and kill them. So there's forces of magic and forces of supernatural and forces of infernal and forces of undead, like the Twisted Rune Cabal, for instance, would possibly recruit promising wizards and make sure that the information fell into their hands at the opportune moment. They may even engineer a horrible situation in that person's life that drive them towards that choice, because they are very twisted and they have very long plans. So they can plan for something for decades, just on the off chance they'll get another ally in their twisted schemes. So yeah, absolutely. A lot of misinformation, a lot of, never trust a gift horse when it comes to dark magic. And of course, warlocks. Nobody ever pays enough attention to warlocks. Yeah, druids, of course, and monks get the option of immortality through more natural means. I personally wish we had more Friar Tuck type monks. The European-centric monks instead of the Eastern monks. Where's the Hema monks? The historic European martial art monks. I want to see more of that. Curses are incredibly cool. You don't have to have any rules. You can just introduce them to your campaign and they can create wonderful adventures. Absolutely. The Bedine, yeah, it's a Bedine. It sounds too close to the Bedouin, so I never use it. Something named close. Well, that's not nerd-splaining. That's perfectly cool. I had an idea of Lich who got bored of hiding away, scheming in a lair somewhere, and becomes a fearsome pirate captain, roaming the sea like Davy Jones and Undead's crew. Absolutely. Why not? Put them on an airship. Have them riding around in an undead whale. There's some Moby Dick pun there that I'm not getting. But he was a white whale. It looks like a corpse. See you, Fred. Yeah, Artificer becomes a clockwork horror with a brain in the jar like Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, yeah. Donnie, it's going to be right up their alley. Absolutely. Yeah. If it becomes common knowledge and it's forbidden knowledge, then basically what you got is a Wrath of the Gods situation where Vecna would engineer some sort of mass hysteria, panic, madness. He might introduce Sahuagin into your sewer system, you know, or arrange an invasion of Slard. Make very sure that the Blood War makes a visit to your world. Yeah. They've got ways of dealing with things. Kind of like Vecna doing an exterminatus. It's like, nah, unfortunately your city has an overabundance of information which is sadly forbidden. So, bye-bye. Have you ever DM'd an evil campaign? If so, how would you operate it? No, but I have heard of very successful evil campaigns. It only works when all of the characters are evil, and when everybody's in agreement that that's what you want to do. You can't slide into an evil campaign with good characters. It just doesn't work. And make sure that they're not like lawful evil characters work a lot better than chaotic evil characters. Because murder hoping around is pretty vapid and is boring. You want them to have drives. Like, when you think about it, a lawful evil villain is just as driven and principled as a paladin, but they'll not let anything get in their way, whereas a paladin will stop at the point of... I mean, sometimes paladins in old D&D, for instance, a paladin would say, okay, you have been an evildoer, and if you swear to a path of righteousness and beg forgiveness of the gods, you know, now is your chance. And so they think that it's going to save them. So they say, yes, I relent all of my ways. I make atonement. Here is all of my wealth. Here's my where the hostages are thing. And then the paladin goes, great, and then lops their head off. Why? Because there's a better chance of them now, as soon as they've redeemed themselves, going to a better place in the afterlife, which the cleric knows exists, rather than giving them the chance of backsliding back into evil while they're still immortal. That is a lawful good alignment played correctly. It's brutal, but it's an extremist view. So is the lawful evil character. They're an extremist, but they are the opposite. They will do whatever. They don't care who gets in their way. But they will keep their word. They will not betray an ally and all that sort of stuff, unless it's, you know, for a very good reason. They are principled, but they're completely self-driven. Yeah. And I always think of neutral alignment as selfish, not disinterested. They're out for themselves, and they see no reason to put themselves at risk for others. So it's like chaotic selfish, lawful selfish. It works. It really works if you think about it. Like, only really druids are interested in balance at all costs. Why would a neutral like fighter be interested in like going and helping the orcs if the orcs seem hard done by? No, they're just in it for themselves and their reputation. So a neutral fighter actually works really well because they're like a gunslinger. It's all about their reputation. right? Don't challenge them because they'll put you down. Talk them up and they'll work with you. So it works really well. We need a proper document explaining how religion works in a world with active gods. Do we? Faiths and pantheons? That's a good document. Or my video on Faiths and Clerics of the Forgotten Realms. That's a pretty good video. Yeah, give them a purpose to be evil. Give them a reason to be evil. Yeah. And it's a fun campaign if you do that, if there's structure to it. You think Badine is actually the word for Bedouin in some language? Probably. Yeah, you can't argue that the Forgotten Realms has got a lot of derivative stuff, and the creators of it aren't that comfortable with it either. Like, I don't think Ed is. I don't know if he runs any campaigns or anything in Karatua, for instance, even Mastica. But they're there, if you want to use them. I like the idea of Karatua being there. I like the Forgotten Realms as it is. I think it's perfectly fine. Smells like the old anti-paladin, yeah. Important question, kind of. How does someone afford traveling across the realms as a traveling sage? Well. First of all, you can get across the entire realms if you go far north, get a sled dog team, and go through above the Spine of the World Mountains and skirt around Palveria and stop off there to get some supplies, and then make your way across the Great Glacier, and you can skirt right across the top of the Forgotten Realms all the way to the Hordelands. Yeah, and that will take you probably about 5 or 6 weeks, maybe 2 or 3 months at the worst. But a sled dog team is actually really fast and efficient. The other way is, of course, travel through all of the waterways. So trade routes are well established in the 3.5 edition campaign manual for Forgotten Realms. It shows you where all of the main routes of trade for all of the trade bars and all of the textiles and perfumes and stuff like that. It tells you which nations produce them and where they go to. So that gives you a very good idea of where all the trade ships go. So you can always book passage on a trip on a ship which is carrying cargo, because they'll generally have space available for a passenger. It's an easy yes for them. It's just like, yeah, just stay there, mind your own business, don't cause any problems, and yeah, you can get somewhere relatively cheaply because they're going that way in the first place anyway. The other way is you can use magic, of course, to teleport quickly, but there's also portals and things like that exist. The old standing stone portals from the original Imaskari Empire were around, and those were based on the original Batraki portals. So they're still around, and those can be moved and erected somewhere else, which is devastating when you think about siege warfare. If you can move a stone portal and put it inside a keep, you can move your entire army in there. So lots of different methods. Riding a dragon is not actually efficient as you would think. Dragons don't actually fly that much. They glide for long distances, so they're like condors. They catch a thermal and they fly up, and they only fly for like 6 hours or so, and then they stop and rest for a while. Same thing with griffins and things like that. They don't generally have supernatural constitutions for flight. It's, unless it's very energy efficient. But other things are much better. So yeah. And of course, there's other species of technologically advanced beings. So, for instance, storm giants are technologically advanced, so they can probably teleport you from one place to another using artificial means. All sorts of methods. I wouldn't recommend going underground. No, that's not a fast method. Yeah, neutral evil is the worst of them all, for sure. Definitely. Hey, Compnuck, thank you. Can't watch at a pro wrestling match. Oh, have fun. I've never been to a pro wrestling match. I'd like to, though. That would be cool. My brother was recently at a monster truck rally thing in a stadium over in Indiana. He's living there permanently now. So, yeah, I've got a reason to go and go to Gen Con because I can go and stay at my brother's house. And I've got, of course, my relatives over in Canada who are here recently. I was the best man at my my uncle's wedding. He's a corrections officer in Canada. Around Toril in 80 days. Yeah. Not around the entire world. I don't even know how you would do that. Does the teleport spell trivialize a lot of astral sea travel? No. Because you got to know where you're going with the teleport spell. That's the trick. Of course, my sage character can instantly teleport from one location to another as an immortal, but he doesn't like doing that because that uses power points, and power points are experience points. And the way that you gain level as or hierarchy, level in the hierarchy of immortals, is to gain power points. So he's journeying around and adventuring as much as possible, as much as he used to do on the Forgotten Realms, because he's gaining experience points to go up as a immortal. So he can't die, but he still masquerades as immortal. That's my narrative excuse. It's like, it's unfortunate for anybody traveling and adventuring with the sage. That would be a big part of the novels. It's just like his guilt of leading these people to their deaths, and being reassured by other immortals. It's like, you got to let go of these things, You must leave her, brother. You're an immortal. If your power points leave your body, it's over. A real ab workout. Hey, thanks. D&Dbeyond. I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry. Oh, it's Zaz. Well, my brother doesn't live anywhere near Gen Con, so it would have cost me $500 to get there. Plus, I would have no problem traveling to the States at the moment. Don't believe the hype on social media. Like there are a lot of very freaked out people overseas at the moment, but look, we're not directing any of that ire at everyday Americans. You're cool. And I am not at all worried about the current regime or any of the political bullshit that's going on. It's really, it's not as bad as people think. Don't come at me. It's not my country. It's just my 5 cents. We have our own problems over here. Like yesterday, man, I had these vol-au-vents that I had to fill, and I didn't have any cream cheese. This is a disaster. So I had to walk all the way down to the supermarket. It was so damn hot. Like, I had to wear shoes. So we all got our problems. Hobbit problems. Anyway, it's about time for me to go. I'm starting to peter out of topics to talk about. This is a Dragon Lad from your Discord. I know, Zaz. Nice to see you. Yeah, Sage Highlander. Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez, at your service. I can't do a Sean Connery accent to save myself. I must ask you a question. What's the big ticket news in New Zealand right now? Nothing really. There's a disastrous school lunches program which is failing terribly. But for some reason, all the parents these days seem to think that they're obligated to feed children in schools. I didn't get fed in school, and I was fine. I don't even need an education. Not that school really did me any good anyway. It's not built for people with object brains, That's one of the things. One of the things I've sort of worked out this year is that I have an object brain. I've got an object thinking brain, so I don't think in symbols, and mathematics is useless for me. It just doesn't make any sense. And also, I don't do, like, you'll see my drawings and stuff. I don't do any planning sketches or anything like that. I just do everything in my head. I also don't have an internal monologue, so there's no voice talking to me in my brain. I don't hear my thoughts as sounds or anything like that, which is foreign to people who don't understand that and perfectly normal to people who do. In fact, people who are like that probably went, oh my God, they really do hear voices? Yes, they do. And the even freakier thing is that so many people have voices that talk to them and tell them bad things and they can't stop it. That's terrifying. Terrifying. I feel so sorry for you people. Anyway, I don't have that problem. Also, I don't understand meditation. Like, what do you mean silence my thoughts? I can literally just switch off. And if you were a telepath and you were zoning in on my brain, it would literally just be a reflection of what my eyes are seeing. There'd be nothing, no activity whatsoever. I could just disappear like a putting on a reflective force field that just shows the surroundings. Literally, that's what my brain does. Just like, boop, I can just zone out. Instant meditation. Yeah. But that's me. Not a normal person. Would a normal person make this many videos about monsters? No. So God bless the freaks. All right, my fellow freaks. I'll catch you next time. Do I sleep easily? I sleep about... I have exactly the same work output as Stephen King. That's how much I write. And I have exactly the same sleep work schedule as Elon Musk. I work and eat any time of the day that I want. I nap when I want to. And I sleep about 4 to 6 hours a night. That's it. Any more than that, it's really weird. It's like sleeping for 8 hours for me is like sleeping for 12 hours for you. You wake up messed up. Yeah, so that's just the way it is. I always worried about it because everybody was like, you must get 8 hours sleep. It's bullshit. You don't. A lot of people don't need that, particularly as you get older, but I've never needed that much sleep. And so, yeah, I've always been stuck in my room, told to go to bed at 7:30, and I'm like, oh, the sun hasn't even gone down. Hey, thanks, Donnie. Member for 64 months. Wow. You are a professional silver dragon. Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. So from me here in Hobbiton, in the beautiful Bay of Plenty in New Zealand, as we've just gone into autumn, but you wouldn't believe it to look outside. I wish you all of the best. Happy gaming, and I'll catch you, as always, very soon.